Hey everybody, this is Dana with CoachDanaInspires.com, and I am excited for today's business inspiration. We have a fabulous interview today. For those of you who may not know who I am CoachDanaInspires.com, and I am a business coach for women entrepreneurs and business owners, and I help you find your perfect fit, find your value, and then put those together and build your business. And we have a fantastic interview today with Billie Ortega, and she is an expert on building high performance teams. And we are going to have a great interview today. So, Billie, how are you today? How's the family? What's going on?
Good morning. So it's Tuesday and I'm so excited to be here. So excited to be part of this. Yeah. So I'm good. Family's good. I've got a ton of family, tons of kids, 2 dozen actually grandkids, not kids.
Yeah, right.
So yeah. But family's all great, doing great.
Oh,
So,
fabulous, fabulous. Well, we were just chit-chatting before we went live, and this is March, and it was March when all this happy COVID thing started last year. Can't believe that it was a year ago. This coming weekend was my very last trip going away, far, far away. Do you miss that traveling? You miss
I
being
do.
out
I
and
do.
going?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I just can't wait. Hurry up, get me a plane. I want to be
I
on a
know,
plane
right?
very
Yes.
badly. And I know people are out there taking planes. I know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And if I had something important to do, I would get on a plane. I just don't have anything that's
That's important.
drawing me. Although I do have a friend in Las Vegas that said, "You need to come and be hanging out at my Hearts Alive animal rescue." And I said, Las Vegas, dogs. It's a perfect combination for me.
There you
So
go.
I may run out
Yeah.
there and do that. You talk to a lot of people, a lot of clients. What are they saying about now that we've hit the yearish mark on COVID? Are they positive? Are they, what's going on with them?
Dana, so I mean, the last year's been tough, right? It's been a tough year for people personally. It's been a tough year for business, both corporate and small business. I know a lot of the focus has been small business, but corporate's really been hit hard too, right? All of the work at home, has been a challenge for some people. And there's some people that are good at work at home and some that do not like that. So it, people being forced to do those types of things has been difficult. Business in general has been difficult. Getting customers, right, has been difficult. Customers, do I go? Do I not go? Do I engage? Do I not engage? So there's been all of that. But I think, as we're moving now into a year, businesses have learned a lot, both corporate and small business. Entrepreneurs, business owners have learned a lot. So now approaching a year, I think there's a lot of excitement now about getting back to some normalcy, but also taking things that we've learned over the last year. And some of those have been really exciting for businesses, and saying, hey, we learned this, right? We learned a different way of doing business or of operating, and we're going to take that. And now that things are starting to open up, we're going to flourish, and we're going to just take that and just really be excited. The unfortunate part is there are some businesses, both big and small, that right did not survive. But I think in the people that I've talked to, business owners, they're like, it was meant for a reason, and I'm going to go off and do something else. And it actually gave them time to think about really what is in their wheelhouse, and what is it that they really want to do. So I think there's been, it was hard, but it's been good, and we're getting back to some normalcy, and people are excited about that.
Right, right. And I do think that, and we can use Zoom as an example. I think that, we used to, if I went to do a keynote, I got on a plane, I had to drive to the airport, get on a plane, fly, rent a car or get a Uber, blah, 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 stay the night, be there, get back on the plane, and a whole lot of time and expense in that. And now, it's not the same by any means,
Right.
but now I can crawl out of bed this morning and I could be here on Zoom and I can give my keynote and Go back to
I
bed.
know, right?
You know.
And as
So
long as this looks good, right,
yeah,
from here, yeah, doesn't matter.
yeah, fuzzy slippers are okay
That's
because we're not
right.
doing a tap dance. So that, yeah,
That's
that's
right.
very, very true. So there are positive things in
Yes.
all situations, I think.
Mhm.
Somehow we just have to find that little silver lining. Um, so what? Speaking of entrepreneurs, speaking of business owners, what can we do? What can we do right now to really kind of push us over to get us in that positive direction?
So I think, being present and focus, right? And really taking a look at the last year, what's worked, what's not worked, thinking outside the box, really getting out of yourself, asking your teams, right? Asking people, what ideas do you have? And I know a lot of businesses have done that, right? Have had these what I'll call powerhouse brainstorming sessions of how do we be creative? How do we get customers in? How do we change our business? How do we do things to survive? And it's done several things, right, of bringing people together. But I think just really being open to that, and looking at things different, right? How do we be creative in that to move forward with things? And
Right.
yeah, it's opened up a whole new world, I think, for some businesses.
Yeah, so it's not the same. Don't It's not the way we've always done it. Let's find a new
Exactly.
way. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that.
Yeah.
So you know, you are a team expert, a team extraordinaire. I mean, there are not enough words to explain how you know how to build a high performance team. So let's just hop into it. Give me some of the ways that we as business owners, we may not have big teams, but we may have to work with teams, outside of our own little area. But how do we build those high performing teams?
So thanks for the kind words, Dana. Yeah.
I just
um,
speak the truth. It's okay.
yeah. So I've had the opportunity to work with some amazing teams and lead some amazing teams over my many, many years in careers. And I think, as I was thinking about this interview, what are some of the key things in really creating high performing teams? I mean, first you have to have a team, but you're right. It can be a team of two, it can be a team of 300 or 1,000, right? It doesn't matter what your team size is. You have to have a good leader, right? They don't have to be a great leader, because I think as leaders, we continue to learn every day. You'll never reach a plateau of I'm here, right? And I don't go any further. You have to have a good leader who's willing to learn and to grow with the team. You have to have focus, communication, and I know some of your past interviewees have talked about communication, how important that is. But I think some of the key things is honesty, integrity, respect, and relationships. Those are the key things. It's because it's really all about the people in any business, right? It's all about the people. It's about your team. It's about the customers. It's all about people. Without people, we wouldn't have business. So you have to really keep that focus. The other thing is that everybody brings something to the team. Everybody. We used to have this term called the hum, and that was, those people who didn't have aspirations of doing the big wild things, right? Or going, all crazy with things. They were the people that just kept things going, but they allowed then those people who wanted to do the big things to do those big things. And everybody felt secure that the hum and things were still being
Okay.
stable and going, right? So everybody has a place in a team. And sometimes people may be in the wrong place in the team. So really getting to know your team, know what their strengths are, what they bring. And sometimes you may have to have a conversation to reposition people within the team, to say, you know what, you've got all these strengths and this is really a better fit for you. It may be out of your comfort zone a little bit, but we're going to help you get there because you really, I mean, it's a natural fit for you, right?
Right.
And so I think just really understanding your team members, understanding their strengths, understanding what they bring to the table, leveraging their skills and their knowledge and their network, right? That's the other thing is understanding where they've come from, what network they have behind them. The other really important thing is culture, right? So having the opportunity to create and lead and be a part of global teams was an experience, right? And a challenge at the same time, but understanding cultural differences, and cultural doesn't even have to be international, right? We have cultural differences in the US. Understanding those cultural differences and taking that into account, when you focus on people, they feel valued, right? And when people feel valued and trusted, and they trust you, you do great things and you do big things together. That's just the long and short of it. Again, you have to have, a good leader that can take the corporate red tape and the BS out of stuff to let people do what they do best. But I think just, the relationships. Other things on creating a high performing team is sharing information. So information is knowledge is power only if you share it. That's my firm belief, right? You have to share it. Now, as a leader, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to share everything, because there's sometimes where you have to keep things close to the vest for certain reasons. But the things that are going to help your team be successful, you have to share. You have to give them the knowledge. You have to give them the big picture. And I think sometimes that's what's missing is we have this task, but how does that impact this group? And how does that impact this group? And how do, we impact them? How do they impact us? How do we get from them what we need? And how do we give to them what they need? So that through the whole chain, right, you can be successful. Again, it's building, it's relationships. It's
Right.
all about the relationships.
And do you find that when you have a team with people who feel respected, people who feel like they're doing an important job, that they're appreciated, don't they just want to give out more? They want to give that boss more, because man alive, they appreciate me. I want to work for that person.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, very few people in this world, will go to work for free. I mean, we all go to work to earn a paycheck, right? Because we have to live. You can't live on love and air. Well, you can, but not for very long.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and people spend the majority of their lives in a job,
Right.
and feeling valued, and that, I mean, having been in positions where you felt valued, not felt valued. And that doesn't mean that every one of your ideas is going to be implemented, or everybody's going to agree with everything. But if you feel valued in a team, and I'm a firm believer in this, that you're more open to feedback, you're more open to give feedback, you're more open to be creative, right? And brainstorm with people and just be nice to people, right? If you feel valued and you feel like you're a part of things, it makes a really good working environment.
Right. And I have a friend that works in a team environment, and the leader, one of their mantras is everyone is replaceable. Everyone is replaceable. And it just stabs me in the heart that how on earth is this team even functioning? And there is a lot of backstabbing, a lot of talking in the background about each other, and and I see this team just withering, and it's very unfortunate that this leader, like, I want to, like, let me get to that person,
Right.
You need to talk to Billy. Get to talk to Billy. It's just really sad. And you were talking about repositioning people on the team, that maybe this isn't their best fit on the team, but they're a fantastic employee. They work hard. They know a lot. I used to work for a company. This is so many years ago, before you were born, Billy. And this young lady, she was customer service.
Mm.
And I was accounts receivable. I was the person that put you on no shift because you weren't paying. And people would call me and ask me customer service questions and ask me to help. And I'm like, well, have you talked to so and so? No way, not going to call that person. She's so
Right.
mean. She's so crabby. But she had a mind. She could remember everything. I mean, wow, she had a memory and she knew the business so well. And so finally, when this was pre-computer, and so finally we were getting into the computer age, and they said, "Would you like to learn this?" She was suddenly this beautiful flower.
Right.
Everyone wanted to be with her. Everyone wanted to talk to her.
Yep.
I mean, it was unbelievable how
Yep.
that move just.
Yeah. I've had, employees like that too, where I've been put on a team or had a team, and it's like one that comes to mind, brilliant, brilliant guy, and was really just frustrated with what he was doing, right? And a lot of people didn't like get him, and it was really struggling. So I kind of watched and talked to him and got to understand where his strengths were. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you are in the wrong position. We need to put you over here, because all these things that you do and this is where we need you, right? So I had the conversation with him, and he said, you're the first person who's taken an interest in me and what my skill set is. We moved him to a different position, and he flourished. The team flourished. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, had we known. And I'm like, it's all about knowing your people, right? You got to know your people and what they bring to the table. And like I say, there's some people that want to do the great things, and there's some people that don't, and that's okay. Some people think, oh my gosh, if you're not this go-getter and you want to climb the mountain and do all these things, you're not it. No, not at all, because you have to have those people that do the hum, right? Because that's what they know. They love it, they're good at it, and they keep things going so you can go off and do these other great things. Yeah.
And would you say, we were talking about, finding these people and getting these relationships so you understand each other. Is that the biggest challenge, you think, or is there another challenge that we need to hop over and look at?
So, there's several challenges, and in today's world, we're really global anymore. We didn't used to be as global, or international, right? Whatever you want to term that is. So that is a challenge, right? It really is. I think where businesses, especially corporate business, are coming over the hump, so to speak, with that somewhat, because we've been global now for a while. But understanding culture in business is huge, when we were building some global teams, just understanding what their culture was, what our culture is here in the US, how that differs, how do we talk to each other, understanding that some places are 12 hours difference, right? So if I'm up at 2 a.m, you're probably not going to get my best me, right? If I have to be on a call. So understanding that, right? Or understanding these people are working all night, right? So, and just different things like that. So culture and understanding the culture. And again, even in the US, right? Different states have different culture. So understanding your cultural background and differences with your people, it can be a challenge, right? That is a
Right.
challenge. Time is probably one of the biggest challenges as well, especially if you have large teams, because you have to spend time with people. You have to spend time understanding your people, knowing your people, knowing, do they have kids? Are they married? Do they have grandkids? I mean, at a personal level, not every intricate detail, but at a personal level, because they are a person and they're part of your team. And if you want your team to be a close-knit team, you're spending 8+ hours a day with these people. You have to know who they are and what their life is about, what their priorities are in their life, what their values are in their life, right? So time can be a challenge. with all the business things that you have to do, and you still have to carve out time for people. So time can be a really big challenge. And I think when it comes down to it, what I've seen and experienced is the people stuff goes by the wayside, right? Because time becomes a factor, and we've got to get this project out. We've got to, right? We've got timelines we've got to hit. And so it's go, 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 go. And there's not the time for the people. So keeping that balance. And sometimes, I would always tell my teams that if, I'm available 24/7. So if there's something we need to talk about, and if it's really important, you need to tell me, I need 10 minutes of your time today, right? That means I have to find 10 minutes in my schedule to sit down with you for 10 minutes because it's important to talk about whatever is going on. So
Right.
time, I think, is probably that, and that goes into conflicting requirements, right? You've got requirements from your boss, you've got requirements from another organization, you've got deadlines, you've got priorities, blah, blah, blah. And you have to really mesh that and balance that with people time.
Right.
Yep.
And I think when you have a team that understands and works together, and I may not want to go out to dinner with that person, but I do understand them. I do hear about their family or their dogs or cats or things that they volunteer at. If I get to know that person a little bit better, then I feel more trusting of that person. I feel they can trust me better, and you just work closer together. And
Right.
yeah, I think time would be a big issue. But now you have this team. It's performing at the highest level it's ever performed. How do you maintain that? What's the key
So
to
that,
keeping it?
again, there's that balance, right? Communication. So there's several factors, but one thing I want to touch on when you said, about going out to dinner. So I also had an opportunity in my career to do some work with recognition and what people see as recognition and that type of thing. When we surveyed a team, because one of the ways we would recognize people is they would go out to dinner with the VP. Well, when we did some feedback, the feedback we got was, I don't want to go out to dinner with my director or my VP. That is not recognition for me, right? So, but it made us stop and think about, all right, so now you're putting this person in an even more uncomfortable position than they want to be in, right? This is not recognition for them. So
that's funny. That's just funny. I love it.
It is funny. Yeah. And so some of the VPs and directors kind of got their feelings hurt a little bit, but but they got over that, right?
Yeah.
But the maintenance of that, so communication, right, is a really big thing. Letting people in on the big picture. You have to, especially as a leader, you have to know what that big picture is, not just what your team is responsible for and what you're responsible for, but what's that big picture so that you can come up with solutions, right? You can be creative. Your team can be creative in that. Looking at your metrics on a regular basis, right? Here's what we've done. Here's where we are. Here's where we need to go, right? And then comes the recognition piece of that. We've done really well, or we've not done so well. How do we get better? How do we get there? Leaders don't have all the answers. Some think they do, but they don't. It's the teams who are, I know, right, who are doing the work that are really going to come up with the solutions, right, on how to move you from here to here.
Right.
So regular communication, right, weekly team meetings, weekly staff meetings, letting the teams have an hour by themselves to just brainstorm and talk about things, right? We learned this, or after a big project, at the close of a project, what did we learn? Lessons learned. What did we learn? How did we do? What are the good things that came out of this that we take forward? Capitalizing on that. Giving feedback, asking for feedback on a regular basis, right? It's got to be on a regular basis. Taking care of issues in a timely manner. So as a leader, right, if you've got issues, you can't let those issues lag. You got to nip them in the bud. And you can't penalize the team for one person. right? You've got to take care of those issues with that one person. And again, if you know your people, and you're never going to, my opinion, be perfect at that, but have the conversation, right? What's going on with you today, right? Or you seem really off lately. What's going on? What can I help you with, right? We've got, I mean, you still have the business piece. You got to meet, you know, whatever requirements you have, but you have to put the personal piece in that. Supporting your team, right? Just knowing that they have someone at the helm who's going to take away all the stuff to let them be creative and do what they do best.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. This has been great information, Billie. We could be on this call for another hour and a half with this fabulous information. So we are out of time. This goes so fast, and I just love it. And when there's great information, it's easy to have the time just fly by. So I want to give folks the opportunity that if they want to get a hold of Billie and ask her some questions, here is her email address. She's very willing to give you some insight, give you some words of advice. Her experience is so vast, multicultural, so diverse. So if you have questions, Billie is so willing to help you out. And if I can ever be of service, if you want to talk to me about coaching or how do you find your value and your perfect client, that's my information down there. So give me a buzz, get a hold of me with my email, and I'll be happy to talk to you. So until next time, wow, Billie, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing so much of your time and your knowledge and wanting to help out. And that's just kind of the kind of gal you are. You're just that helping, caring person. So just thank you so much. And for everyone out there, we'll see you next Tuesday on Business Inspiration. Thank you, Billie.
Awesome. Thank you, Dana. Have a blessed day.
Yes, absolutely. And you too.